Good evening. It is Thursday night, and you have found the Deerwood Realty live stream. We're in a number of places. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on the Deerwood Realty and Friends website. You can find me, but you've probably found me on YouTube. That's probably where you found me. Thank you for a special thing tonight. I have 150 subscribers. Now, look, let's just go over the intro. My name is John Schenk. I am the founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. We're a small real estate firm. In fact, it's just me. And we help buyers buy homes and sellers sell theirs. At night, I do the Deerwood Realty live stream, and that's what you're watching now. But the thing is, let's be honest, 150 subscribers. Now, look, I'm not famous, okay? I'm just a regular guy, like literally a regular guy, I think. And I have no marketing budget. I have nothing other than I just go to work every night and I do my live stream. For me to be at 150 subscribers, I appreciate it. That's all I can say is I appreciate it. When I was at 50, I was like, oh man, 50. That was almost a year ago. Then when I was at 100, and I couldn't even get to 100, I called a friend. I said, look, I'm at like 99. Can you please subscribe so I can hit 100? And he did, and I appreciate it. And then he stopped. Then he left. But that's fine, because by that time I had like 103. And then I got to 140. And I'll tell you what, it just kind of stopped. And then I got to 143, and I was like, And then in the last week I've gotten 150. And I mean, again, regular guy, 45 years old from St. Louis, Missouri. You'll hear people like, there's a guy on Twitter today. He didn't even have a YouTube channel. He had a YouTube channel, started it at least, went to Twitter and said, hey guys, follow me on YouTube. And he already had like 4,000 subscribers. Kenny Wallace is from St. Louis. He used to be a race car driver. Now he's a dirt track racer. He used to be a NASCAR driver. He's got like 50,000 subscribers. I saw a lady that I followed. I like to follow small streamers myself and small YouTube channels. The lady that I followed has gotten up to 5,000 subscribers. It's a big deal for her. And look, I don't know where the journey takes me. I really want to be monetized at 1,000. But given the rate that I get subscribers, we're looking at sometime by the time I'm maybe in my 50s. And I don't think I'm in for that. So anyway, I wanted to say thank you for everyone. If you accidentally press subscribe on your phone, like, please don't click unsubscribe. Just pretend that I'm not there. I'm totally cool with it. I would really like to get to 1,000, but I don't want to minimize the fact that I got to 150. Doing a real estate related show on the internet, from what I've seen as far as a live stream, it's pretty dicey. If you want me to tell you that it's a great time to buy a house every day, that's not going to fly. That's not something I'm into. And if you want me to lie to you about a bunch of stuff or talk to you like you're a 12-year-old, unless you're a 12-year-old, you're not going to not want that to happen. So anyway, how are you tonight? It's 9:04. Let me just tell you about my day. We got up, asked to go show some houses as far as I needed showing confirmations, and then I went and showed the houses. Very strange day in St. Louis. It's cold, but it's cold because it's raining, and it's like it rains for a while, and then it stops. Then it rains some more, and then stops. It's finally getting dark now, but it was a very depressing day. Nothing great about being outside. I showed some houses, and I thought, I always think we should go and go over that first, because it's just kind of like, it's why I'm in business. So I don't want to show you any addresses or anything like that. I don't want to rip on anything. But the first house we went to, these are things that I've seen that I just wanted to point out. I thought you might be interested. Oh, I better stop for a moment, which is bad live streaming. Let me tell you about the show tonight. We're going to talk about my showings. We're going to talk about some articles that I've read today that just blew my mind. Then we're going to talk about some tweets, and we're going to talk about some stuff, some articles, real estate articles about organization, and what are the other two? Let me look. Sorry to stall. We're going to look. I don't know why my mouse is going so slow. Anyway, we're going to talk about Tudor style home, what that is, and then the single family starts are supposed to be lackluster. I don't know. I do know that we're live on YouTube because I can see the notification. So that's what we're going to do. But anyway, starting the show, we're going to talk about my showings. And here's just some, look, if you're thinking about listing your house, or if you're going to go look at houses as a buyer, this is what you'd probably want to pay attention to. This is my thoughts that I can't really give you like off the top of my head because I don't really have anything like that. It's just normally when I go see a house, there's things I want to show you. So the first house that we went to, asking around $3, 2-story in St. Louis County. The picture is what's funny because the picture makes it look like it's on a flat level lot, but actually when you drive, there's a hill right in your garage. So if it's icy or snowy, you're taking out the garage. There's no question. Big backyard. The thing that kind of got me about this house is it's dated. I don't know if the owner knows that or not, so I don't want to hurt him. But I think the real estate agent knows. And the kitchen doesn't make any sense. The kitchen is like a galley kitchen, but it opens up. It's weird. It's weird. So the things I would say about this house that I appreciated were the listing agent had every single light on in the house before I got there, so I could just walk through and not try and fumble around trying to find lights. Do I feel deceived? Well, I think deception is a part of real estate at this point, so I don't feel deceived. I mean, the fact that it doesn't have a flat lot, I mean, it was an immediate no for my buyers, and they were like, "What is this? This is stupid." But I mean, it got us over there, and that was what the listing agent's job is. Second house is fascinating. We were in 3 different school districts tonight. Second house was a house built in 1948. It's off of a major street with no stop sign or no stoplight or anything. So getting in and out of that place is going to be a disaster. It's in the school district that a lot of people like in South County. And it was built, like I said, in 1948, an odd house. I don't agree with the bedroom description. I'm just telling you, I don't agree with the bedroom description. It says 3 bedrooms. We were there. There was 2 bedrooms, and there was one awful room in the basement that could not possibly be a garage or a bedroom. And then there was an extra room, and there's no way that could be a bedroom. There was no closet. So I feel deceived. Well, I mean, this is the second house now where something has been said that's not true. But again, I'm a real estate agent, and I understand, like, yes, I'm being deceived, and so would everybody else, and they don't care. So the third house we went to, the third house was close to me. I love this house because this is the way real estate agents used to do it before the pandemic. The fact that this guy feels the need to do it now makes me laugh. Back in the day, well, let's talk through it. First of all, back in the day, how do you get people through a house that's an ugly house, like where people are going into a home or something, and it's just they weren't able to take care of it? How do you bring people in? Well, you can't do it on the basis of beautiful pictures of the house because the house is not beautiful in any way. You lower the price. You lower the price to below what you think it'll sell for dramatically. Okay, that's just a fact. Do I feel deceived? No, I knew it was happening. So I get a text from my buyers, and they're like, "Hey, we want to go see this house. Looks like a great deal." Guy's got it priced $75,000 below what it'll sell for. I kid you not. I'm checking my phones because I didn't set up the way I needed to start the show tonight. $75,000 below what it'll go for. So I told him, I said, you know what? This house isn't going to go for this. I really know this area well. It's not going for that. It's going to go for much higher. They're like, that's cool. We'll go anyway. So we went. And it was the usual. There were people in and out of that house, like almost like a mall. I mean, just in and out, in and out, in and out the whole time we were there. And, that's just to bring in traffic. Do I think that the agent did the right thing? Well, that guy sells like 40 houses a year, 40 or 50 houses a year. He's a high producer. He felt like that was the thing to do, and so he did it. Do I feel deceived? No, I even told my buyers ahead of time that one was going to be a joke. Just know there's different listing strategies. Just know that, like my buyers could be perplexed. They could be like, well, why would they do that to us? Why are they trying to trick us? We went to 3 houses tonight and they were all tricks. It's like everybody has their own metrics. So like on the last house, the guy has to get people through the house to sell it. Okay. And the house was not great. Okay. The house was not great. And so how else was he going to do that? He's got no pictures to go on. He's got nothing. The house needs everything. Price it for far lower than what it should go for. On the other house, 2-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom, massive. By the way, on that 2-bedroom versus 3-bedroom, the worst part of it was where it was located. There's going to be 2 lots available that are commercial right next to it, and so you're gonna back right next to something commercial over the time of your ownership, and that's not going to be something that you want. But a 2-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom in a particular school district is a massive difference, and so they felt that there were 3 bedrooms. I don't see it. I don't see it. And then the first one, if you knew ahead of time that you had to go and you were driving down the side of a cliff to get into the garage, you would not go. And so the listing agent needed people to go to show that they were doing a good job. And so that's what they did. They made pictures, made it look like it wasn't a terrible house. It wasn't a terrible house. It was just the garage was just stupid. So, I mean, bottom line, one of the things I learned early in the business is you're supposed to ask your buyers immediately after you show property. You're supposed to say, each property, you're supposed to say, are we writing an offer on this property? And you're supposed to do that because you don't want people wasting your time, like thinking that this is a tour, a house tour. No, you're out there to buy. But to me, that shows you that you don't know anything about your buyer. It was obvious the buyers weren't going to write offers on any of the 3 houses we saw today. I mean, when someone's going to write an offer, they get excited and they say, they start asking certain questions like, when do the offers need to be in, or how much does this, how much would this cost to fix? Or what do you think a good closing date would be? They start asking questions that revolve around buying the house. You don't really need to ask. You know what's going to happen. And so anyway, I just wanted to go over the showings. If that killed the momentum for the show tonight, I apologize. I'm a real estate agent first, everything else second. So now let's get into, I'm going to frame it a certain way. Okay. And I'm going to change some things up because I think it's important. Let's do it this way. Okay. I want you to know that I understand politics as a sport in the United States. It's like you've got your team and you're playing for that team. I'm done. Like, I don't care. I don't like either the 2 parties. I don't want anything to do with it. However, I do understand the sport. And what I'm about to bring to you today is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And as far as politics is concerned, and we'll just talk through it, and then you tell me if I've got it wrong. So let me preface it to you this way. There are people so let's just say the Republican side. So there are Republicans running for president, okay? And so the job is to figure out who's the front runner, okay? And then just throw knives at them until they're no longer the front runner, okay? So I think it's fair to say there's probably 2 front runners: Ron DeSantis, if he runs, and Donald Trump, who said he's running. Okay, that's the 2 front runners. Anybody else is, I mean, if you think Mike Pence is coming, if you think Mike Pence is doing anything other than a grift for money, you're crazy. Same goes with, what is it, Nikki Haley, and Mike Pompeo. I mean, these people have no chance of winning the presidency. None. They're literally just grifting. I understand the grift, but I'm just saying. So someone, and there's that other guy that's running. I don't know his name. He'll probably do better than the other ones, though. You know, the second tier candidates. But what you do is you pick away at these people. And so someone has found a way to pick away at DeSantis. And I'm not going to defend DeSantis so much as to just highlight the stupidity, like the level of stupidity that we accept in American politics. And I want to preface it in this way. When I was a kid, we'd go to school and they teach you about politics, like how does a bill become a law? Totally a lie. The idea that, like, you know, people vote for people that have common interests in mind, and then they go and they work out a deal, total lie. Total lie. In fact, the people that write the bills aren't the you know, the senators or the congressmen. No, it's the lobbyists. The lobbyists basically just take the entire bill and then they give it to their people that they've bought off, and then those people put it forth. They don't even read it. They don't have anything to do with it. So all lies. The other thing that I want you to understand, at least from my perspective, is this idea that something like democracy is sacred. Democracy is only if you can use it as a weapon against someone else. That's what I found. You know, our precious democracy is used as a weapon against you if you step out of line. And so when you talk about democracy with this holier than thou attitude, understand that what you're saying, like, oh, it's so serious. Oh, the idea that people vote based on, like, this was as a kid again. Oh, you should pick the candidate that best is going to do the best job for you. And that's all it is. And that's who wins. It's not who wins. It's not who wins at all. In fact, how would you know what people are going to do? That's the other thing. Like, debates are important. Debates aren't important. Nothing's important. Nothing's that important. I'm just saying, it's wild how we assign so much to these things. But anyway, I read today a tweet, and I couldn't believe the tweet. It was so stupid that I went to go find the source, and I did, and it's from the Daily Beast. And I'm not going to read the whole article or anything like that, but I did want to point this stuff out to you because I think it's important. I think I'm doing my civic duty by doing this. This is the first real massive hit piece against Ron DeSantis. Now, as far as like who I'm going to vote for, you'll never know. I'm not going to tell you. And I will vote, but it's not something that I feel like I need to tell anybody. I'll let you figure it out. But so they've come out with a hit piece. This is the first one I've seen on Ron DeSantis, and let me just go through it with you. Now I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna go down here to see if I. Okay, it's not. All right, it's not. So the arguments against DeSantis, as far as in this article, is that he's kind of stiff and cold, and he doesn't like to be out talking to people, and that's fine. That goes through the whole article. But then what I want to read you is this is the part that this is where you jump the shark. It says the chatter over DeSantis's public engagement has also surfaced past unflattering stories about his social skills, particularly his propensity to devour food during meetings. He would sit in meetings and eat in front of people, a former DeSantis staffer told the Daily Beast. Always like a starving animal who has never eaten before, getting shit everywhere. Enshrined in DeSantis' lore is an episode from 4 years ago during a private plane trip from Tallahassee to Washington, D.C. in March of 2019. DeSantis enjoyed a chocolate pudding dessert by eating it with 3 of his fingers according to two sources familiar with the incident. Okay. Now, what is being said here? I'll go back to here. What is being said? This man cannot be president because, checks notes, he once ate pudding with 3 fingers. That's the only thing holding him back from being president. Now, look, when I was a kid, it was like you'd hear this, and you see this in tweets, and you see this from time to time. You'll get these weird stories. They'll be like, "Mommy, why can't I be president?" And they'll come up with any number of the intersectional garbage, and then I wish it wouldn't be that way. But then, can you imagine? Mommy, why can't I be president of the United States? Well, you eat your pudding like a pig. I mean, think about this. Just think about this. We're right now, the United States is fighting a proxy war against Russia. We've got more than 1,000 troops in Syria. More than happy to aggravate the Chinese, okay? And yet we're a nation where some might be dissuaded for choosing its leader because of a too anonymously sourced pudding consumption stories. I mean, how do you get to the point where? Now, I like pudding, and if you look back, you'll see. I mean, I remember. I'll never forget the Queen with her had some sort of event where people were invited to show their new recipes for puddings. If you look on my Instagram, you'll see that I love pudding. I have no doubt about that. I can't remember the last time. I think we had pudding last week. I used a spoon. I typically like to eat my pudding with just a spoon. I don't like whipped cream or anything like that. I think that kind of takes away. And chocolate, if you're wondering. I'm a fan of chocolate pudding. Vanilla, it's kind of like a banana pudding that's also pretty up there, but mostly chocolate. And, I mean, if the worst thing you've done in your life is eating pudding incorrectly on a plane ride, a private plane ride between Florida and Washington, D.C. I mean, that's like, I'm okay with that, That's the worst thing. The worst thing the man has done that they could come up with was he may have eaten his pudding incorrectly. You got to do better. You're going to have to give me more, okay? We're going to need, in fact, that's the other thing. One of the reasons why Trump was so successful, okay, is that they would throw shit on him all the time, okay? I mean, anything. And it's like, meh. I mean, after you heard so much, it was like, okay. I'll never forget Mitt Romney hates dogs, right? You remember that whole thing? Now, look, I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney by any stretch of the imagination. Terrible senator. Terrible at everything. Just everything wrong with America. But can't stand him. Let's just put it that way. But I see the attacks and the attack of, he hates dogs. That's, man, okay. That's a reason not to vote for him as president. But man, where does it end at that point? Like, you can't even eat pudding right. That disqualifies you from being president. I'm supposed to take journalists seriously. I'm supposed to take democracy seriously when we find out about the candidates that they eat pudding incorrectly. Really? Really? I mean, I look at DeSantis and I don't particularly, I don't see a lot of personality there. I don't see a lot of charisma. I'm in some ways reminded of myself. I don't have the most charisma. When I fly off the handle, it tends to be in private. And, clearly if I had more charisma or something, I'd have a larger viewership on my YouTube channel. I'd have more clients, but I mean, I am who I am. This is who I am. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. But man, I mean, I'm trying to come up with like how, I mean, that people were sitting around in a room and they're like, how do we get at DeSantis? Okay. Well, I know. We'll say he eats his pudding incorrectly. And that flew. That worked. You're like, oh, you know what? Brilliant. Brilliant. We'll use it. Thank you. I have a bug I swear to God, they love the lights and it's annoying. And I'm sorry. And see, it's right there. Nice flying up there. I don't know there's the cough button on a podcast, but I'm not on a podcast where I can just hit the cough button because I got the video going. So you just have to watch me dodge it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you not going to vote for DeSantis now because you've been made aware of his pudding consumption and etiquette? I'm just asking. If you say I never vote for a Republican, I'm totally fine with that. I don't mean it in this political sense. I'm saying, would bad pudding etiquette keep you from voting for the candidate of your choice? Is that the major decision? And I'm not even being sarcastic. Like, I'm serious. Is this the one? Is this the reason? That wasn't even a joke. That was like, they really ran with that. Next thing I wanted to show you. I did a oh, did I say it this way? I might do it this way more often because it might look better when I cut them for YouTube Shorts. We'll try tonight. Let me know what you think. If you hate it, then I won't do it anymore. Tell me in the comments. Put it in the chat. It's totally cool. Okay, it says, asteroid the size of 69 American alligators to pass Earth Tuesday. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I saw it as a tweet at first. People were mocking the tweet. I was like, well, I don't know what to make. So I looked down, I chased down the source, and it was the Jerusalem Post. And I said, well, is that a parody magazine or a parody? No, it's not. No, it's real. And so I got into it. It says, asteroid the size of 69 American alligators to pass Earth Tuesday. This is from NASA. It says, the massive asteroid, 2023 CM, is estimated to be as much as 320 meters in diameter and set to pass Earth. It won't hit, but if it did, it would devastate a continent. And so I was like, how did you come up with this? 69 American alligators. It says, and for those asking in advance, the metric uses total length, not a specific part of the gator's body. It says, how big is the asteroid coming to Earth in 2023? Well, yeah. Can we do it similar to the problem is they're going to go to meters. It says, even at its smallest estimates, this massive asteroid is clocking in at 140 meters wide, enough to meet one of the criteria of being potentially hazardous, but its maximum possible diameter is a whopping 320 meters. That's all the way around. To measure this in more America-friendly terms, and see, this is where it got weird. So in more American-friendly terms, the adult male alligator, commonly found out through parts of the U.S. South and many memes about the state of Florida, can grow on average to be around 4.6 meters in length. Now that doesn't help me because I cannot picture meters. I just want to check chat just to make sure I wasn't leaving somebody behind. So now I got nothing on meters. Now I looked it up and I got it all. I might put a link to the YouTube short I did. But anyway, it said in this massive gators is heavy too, clocking in altogether at around 31,000 kilograms. Now, is asteroid 2023 CM heavier? The odds are yes. So, we should be worried that an asteroid almost hit us. Then it says, but it won't. And the 69 alligators prowling around Florida are likely more immediate danger. Should you live in the area. Now, I don't know if this person has ever seen an alligator. I've always known there's been an issue between alligators and crocodiles that I've never really resolved. Some people say it's got something to do with the snout. It says, but while this doesn't seem likely to happen, smaller asteroid impacts will continue to occur on Earth. Here are some examples. Back in March of 2022, an asteroid half the size of a giraffe. More recently, in November of 2022, a tiny asteroid harmlessly exploded into fragments that scattered around the Lake Ontario. It says on February 13th, 2023, asteroid 2023 CX1, twice the size of a Super Bowl trophy, impacted the Earth near Normandy, France. And most recently, just a few days after that, a meteor around the size of a Pembroke Welsh corgi and the total weight of 4 baby elephants struck the Earth in Texas. Like, what is this? Like, is this a joke? I still don't know. Who does this? Who measures things by animal? The Jerusalem Post? Leave a comment in the section below or put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. Should we move to a situation where we more frequently cite the size of animals when discussing measurements of other things? I'm not joking. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're playing a joke or they're trying to get press, because they certainly are. I'm thoroughly amused by this. I just burped. If I put it in the if you heard it, I'm sorry. You know what I could do? I'm looking at the screen and I could take I had this cute house thing. Let me see if I can put it back up. Let me see. I had these houses. That was cool, but it was so busy that it didn't look good. So now with this black background, I like the black background, but you may not like it on your screen if it's not all the way black. Like the true color. I don't know enough about stuff, but anyway, you could do like bubbles or things like that. You can't do anything. You can't have anything that's like active, like maybe a goldfish, like an aquarium. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe that'd be too busy, but anyway, yeah. Let me know if you measure things in sizes of animals, like if that's just expected around your household. Now I just want to go to the way I think. I saw this on Unusual Whales. It says YouTubers and influencers like BitBoy, Meet Kevin, and Graham Stephan, I don't know, are reportedly being sued for $1 billion in a class action lawsuit for promoting defunct crypto exchange FTX per The Block. So I've never heard of The Block, so I went to The Block. It seems to be some sort of news site, and it says, new lawsuit accuses social media YouTube influencers of hyping FTX without proper disclosure. And it says, a new lawsuit this week accused several influencers of promoting FTX and then scrubbing their channels of clips endorsing the collapsed exchange. Among the defense are Erica Kohlberg, Ben Armstrong, and Kevin Paffrath. The plaintiffs are seeking class action status. And it says, a lawsuit, oh gosh, that was crazy. It says a lawsuit filed Wednesday named a group of social media influencers and claimed they actively promoted FTX to their millions of followers without disclosing the nature of any payments or compensation. That's going to come back. I'm foreshadowing. It says the lawsuit alleges that some of the creators, namely Paffrath as well as Graham Stephen and Tom Nash, Stefan, I don't know, have now scrubbed their YouTube channels of all video clips endorsing FTX and praising Sam Bankman-Fried. So SBF was this guy you all know, had an exchange for crypto. He was a visionary. Somehow they lost a couple $1 billion. Maybe not a visionary anymore. I don't know. It says, yes, I used to be sponsored by FTX. I think that's a disgrace and it's a scar and it sucks. If I could go back, I would change it because people got hurt because of that. I feel so terribly about that. People got hurt because of FTX and it's a disgrace. Pat Fress said in a YouTube video dated November 22nd, according to the lawsuit. Now look. I don't know what to make of this. It said, though FTX paid defendants handsomely to push its brand and encourage their followers to invest, defendants did not disclose the nature and scope of their sponsorship and or endorsement deals, payments, and compensation, the lawsuit claims. This action may be one of the only avenues for any of the victims to recover their damages. Well, they need to find... watch this. Good. See the disclaimer here? The former CEO and majority shareholder of the block has disclosed a series of loans from former FTX and Alameda founder Sam Bankman-Fried. This is what I saw. I didn't see that, but it says exclusive. This is from 2022. SBF secretly funded the crypto news site. So the whole site I just read was being funded by the head of the FTX exchange. I kid you not. I kid you not. So we're supposed to believe them now. I just can't believe it. It says the block of media company that says it covers crypto news independently has been secretly funded for over a year with money funneled to the block CEO from the disgraced Sam Bankman-Fried's cryptocurrency trading firm. Why it matters, the payments which employees of the blocks were previously unaware of could undermine the news company's credibility and cast doubt on its coverage of SBF, the now bankrupt FTX and Alameda Research, his trading firm. One $16 million batch of funding from Alameda was used in part to finance the purchase of an apartment in the Bahamas for Block CEO Michael McCaffrey. McCaffrey's resigned as CEO and is leaving the company. So I think that's fascinating. I'm not saying anything negative about the block right now. This was from 2022. What I'm saying is these people, these influencers, let me go back here, are being sued for endorsing this exchange. But even the people writing about the exchange have their hands in the same pot. The pot, your hand in the cookie jar, they say. So I wanted to kind of wanted to put myself out there. As you know, I'm not sponsored by anyone. Now, you may say, well, John, who's going to sponsor you? You've got 150 subscribers and it took you 2 years to do so. Ouch. That was hurtful. But it's true. It's true. Why? Well, maybe, like, I've always thought about it this way. What would be a product that I could push? Like Zillow leads? Like, I don't like Zillow. Like, I would never push Zillow leads. You know, it's like DocuSign. Well, everybody uses DocuSign in the business. And they don't need me. Like, they've already established their business. It would have to be some up-and-coming brokerage-related thing. And the best type of advertising for those people that need those services. Like if you want somebody to use your technology, okay, you go to like one of the bigger brokerages and you say, hey, we'd like your brokerage to try this for free for 30 days and then let us know what you think. You don't go to some guy on YouTube, an influencer like myself, 150 subscribers as of tonight. It could go down tomorrow. So I just want to have this moment. Let me have it. You don't need me to push your products. But I'll talk about it in what I see, because I'm sure you guys, if you're on YouTube, I'm sure you've seen like your favorite YouTuber, like will all of a sudden stop the middle of their program and start talking about like those earbuds, HelloFresh. It's all kinds of stuff. There's another one that's not HelloFresh, but it's owned by HelloFresh, but it's like a stripped down version of just not meals so much, but like the whole meal's made in like, it's like a TV dinner, basically, an expensive TV dinner. There's is it the bespoke one where they send you a bunch of products that they can't sell individually, but you get it in a package every month? And the further they are away from the idea that the person you're watching would actually use the product, it seems to be the best. Now, I'm not going to sponsor those things. I don't think I'm going to sponsor. To be honest with you, I don't really want to sponsor anything. There's one guy that I like to watch, and now he's hucking gold. You should buy gold. I mean, it would take a lot of money to buy me off. Okay. So the whole idea of like, would I ever be in a situation like these people? I don't think so. Cause I'm not an influencer. Bottom line. But that being said, any company out there that wants to use me, just know that I will do it for like 10 million. 10 million is my number. If you can get me 10 million cash, tax free in my account, I will hawk your product for you. As long as it's not something that I don't like when people get hurt, like physically hurt. Like I'm not so certain about some diet pills and stuff. I'm just not that person. But what do you think about the lawsuit in general? Do you think that people are so influenced by their influencers that they went out and got a crypto exchange account and started trading crypto through these people? Is that even like, is that likely? Is that believable on its face? I mean, that one guy, Kevin O'Leary, I think that's his name, the guy from Canada. I mean, he was all out about, oh, I love crypto. I love crypto. And then it's like, oh, well, you own all this crypto. Like you're getting money from this exchange. And he's like, oh yeah, I am. And he's like, eh. He seems to have been the only one that just totally wiped it away and just kept going. I remember on YouTube, like a while back, I think you could have bought like your own land or something, like in Scotland. And then there's all these contests where like you win a car, and then it's like, but the car is awesome, and you just have to put your name in there, and it's going to work out for you. I don't know. Seems like a scam. Always has. For me, one of my favorite YouTubers promotes like car parts and car companies. Not like the Ford, but at least not that I'm aware of. And that's another thing. Like I would like to know, like I think, like remind me, it's the 16th of March, 2023. Remind me down the road, if I ever do get a sponsorship or if I ever do get money for some reason, like remind me that I should put that on a piece of paper somewhere so you know like who I'm currently sponsored by, because I think that's important. For instance, if I'm watching a video on cars and the guy's fixing a Chevy, okay, and he's like, I love this Chevy, okay, coming to find out the guy's being paid by Chevy, or The guy's working on Chevy. Oh, I hate this Chevy. Turns out he's being paid by Ford. I mean, I think that's relevant. I mean, I'm just that way. But anyway, I do not, the crime here is endorsing a product without telling people that you are being endorsed by the product, or that you're being paid. Like, I can understand, like, they have in YouTube right now, they have, like, paid product, and you click the little button and then it puts at the top of your video, like, you're endorsing a product and I like that. I think that's fair. I don't know what laws there are about this. I know there's even laws with, like, testimonials now and things like that. But to me, I don't think it's unreasonable. I mean, it's so annoying. I don't know if you can see it, but man, it drives me nuts. Anyway, what do you think? You tell me. Put it in the comments, put it in the chat. What do you like? Let's be mean about me for a minute. What do you see me being able to sell? Like hair regrowth? I mean, we go with the hair first, right? That's my biggest, Oh, I was gonna do it one-handed like ninja style. I got it. Gonna have to wipe that off. Not good YouTube here right now, but the thing was annoying. Ugh. Now, if I ate pudding after killing a bug, that'd be cause to not be president. You have to watch earlier in the show for that to make any sense. Anyway, I guess we'll move on to some tweets and things of that nature. Don't worry about me, promoting things just yet. Okay. Let's see if we can get 151 subscribers before we worry about that. Got some ideas. Here we go. So that's that. You know about this. Something I thought we should talk about. This is the Deerwood Realty website. We need to talk about interest rates, at least the mortgage rates. Mortgage rates rose today to 6.69%. What are we to make of that? Well, I believe another bank ate it. I don't know. Like, when I go out, I don't know if I told you this last night. Like, I've shown houses. I show about between 15 and 20 houses for the past month and a half. Okay. Let me do the math because I'm not good at, there's another bug, believe it or not. Oh my God, this is insane. Oh, I had him and I lost. Anyway, let's concentrate. Oh, I hit the calendar button and not the calculator button. Okay, let's say I show between 15 and 20 houses. So let's do the most, just not to be. And I've been showing, let's just say for the past 5 weeks, 100 houses, all within a particular price range. Every single one of those houses right now is currently under contract, and they've gone under contract right, like, as soon as the weekend is up. 100 houses. This may not be, like, you may not understand, but as an agent, like, this never used to happen. Used to be, you go out, look at some houses. There'd be some that were going to stay on the market for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Sometimes if you wanted to get a deal, you'd go and you'd wait. You'd wait for 60 days, then you'd go and you'd go show the house with buyers that were interested in fixing up homes or something of that nature, and then you'd put an offer, and it sure as hell wouldn't be at asking. And then normally you get the pushback like, look, we just lowered the price like 2 weeks ago, and now you're coming at us with this number. How dare you? Feign indignation if you're the listing agent. That's your only play. And that's the way it was. But the inventory, you would not, that like when people say there's no inventory or there's low inventory, this definition is not easy to explain. Like the houses that are on the market are usually so bad, okay, that they would never get the prices that they get if there was actually good houses on the market. If that makes any sense. I mean, like this one house I looked at was over $300,000 today. It was basically a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, and it wasn't in a nice neighborhood or anything like that, and needed everything. And it was. We're not talking about like if you're in St. Louis, if you say words like Ladue or Huntley or Clayton, okay, those are places where your average price is like high, and even Kirkwood now has gotten out of hand. But where I was, there's no excuse for these prices. I mean, it's just like, my God. And so I think there's something, when you do see a good house, okay, there's even more offers than there would normally be because they're like, this is a good house. So if you're an agent right now and you list something for a decent price, you're going to get offers. This week, I've already been there. I know. So I'm just pointing it out. If you are interested right now in St. Louis and in this area, put your house on the market now. I can't tell you what's going to happen 3 months from now. I can tell you what's going to happen this weekend. And if you're a buyer and you don't have to buy, don't. And if you are going to have to buy because you've got life circumstances, no, you're going to overpay. And probably the best plan is if you think there's going to be 14 offers on one house, put an offer in on another one, on a different one that you think there's only going to be 4 or 5 offers on. I know that's not very enlightening or positive, but that's the market we're in here in St. Louis. Let's get on to Twitter. It says, Morgan Stanley, our bank analysts see a meaningful increase in funding costs ahead, which will lead to a tighter light lending standards. It could take several months before the ramifications of worsening lending standards fully play out. Now, look, I think that conforming loans are going to be fine. Conforming loans probably make up 85 to 90% of the home purchase marketplace non-institutionally. So like your Open Doors going in with cash, those companies are going in with cash, but the rest of us are using a mortgage. Okay. And I mean, some instances of cash, but what I'm saying is a federally conforming mortgage, that one which could be sold as a mortgage-backed security, you're still going to have funding for it. Those that don't, bank portfolio loans, are going to be dicey. I think that's true going forward for houses. Right now, when you think about, there's thousands of programs available for mortgages. There's thousands of lenders out there that are more than happy to sell you a mortgage. Okay. Even if you cut out 500 of them, you'd still be fine. Like you wouldn't even know it. So I think something to be paying attention to, but it's not something that's right at the number one concern of mine. This is Santiago Capital. So the big banks are using the money they got from the new deposits they recently received from customers leaving First Republic to make their own deposits back into First Republic. It says also another guy says also First Republic has borrowed as much as $109 billion from the Fed at 4.75%. That seems like a lot of expensive money. And the guy writes, this is why small banks will go out of business. Some people are saying that they want the small banks to go out of business. I don't know. Darth Powell, I love this. It says, this is a meme. It says mortgage payments 2 times higher than family can afford. That's the big bang in this one. realtors' home prices are never going down. I've never felt like I've said that houses aren't going down. I am saying that I'm not, what is this word? Creating urgency. I'm not interested in that tonight. I'm not saying, oh, you better go out. But I am saying that, like, if you're selling, you're going to get a good offer. And if you're a buyer, I don't think that's such a good thing. But again, if you have to, if something's coming up, then you should probably go ahead and buy. It's very interesting. This was a question that I had. I'm sorry, but Roku absolutely should have been punished for leaving $500 million in a goddamn bank savings account. Imagine thinking it's unreasonable to ask the CFO of a $9 billion publicly traded company to do their job correctly. I mean to tell you, like, I mean, I've only got an MBA, okay? And it's not in finance. But why would you ever leave money that's not insured in a bank? And then what are you doing? Like, what kind of, it's just beyond me. Especially the CFO. Like, that's your job. You could say to me, John, that's just, you know what? That's just hindsight. That wouldn't have been no. This is pretty established behavior and has been for decades. Well, I just want to post a comment just so people know I'm here. Plus, it tells me where I'm posting because I don't always know. So anyway, look, you don't have it. There's no excuse. The person should be fired yesterday. Unless the CEO directed them to do such a thing, then I could see it. But then the CEO might need to head out. Oh, I did something bad. And I just found out about it. Okay, well, we'll get through this. Okay, so here's the next tweet. It says, housing starts pshaw. It's time to start looking at housing completions and the rate of change for clues on the direction of housing. 44.6% up month over month in multifamily completions with 5 or more units. Wonder what that means for rent prices. I don't know what this says. I don't know. It seems reasonable. It seems like they wrote that rents are coming down. So that's good. Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to hide this, okay? And then I'm going to put up some things that I should have put up before that I forgot. And I'm going to pretend like I didn't make the mistake. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. I'm glad I caught it because I would have been a little flat-footed had I not. Bear with me. Please hold. Oh, almost did that in the wrong spot. One more. I think we're going to go long tonight, by the way. All right, let me. There. Okay. Did you catch anything? Some of you are way ahead of me, so you would have. The broke agent on Twitter here, it says, when your buyer hates the house, but you still have to go through the motions of showing it because they want to tell you everything they hate about it. And this poor girl in the band on Villanova is playing her flute, and she's crying. And oh, man. So tonight, I mean, I can relate to this tonight. The last house we went to, like I said, it was like a mall. There were so many people coming and going. And it was funny. The seasoned listing agent put in the remarks, he's like, don't just hand off the key. Always lock it. I'm like, you caused this absolute cattle call. And now you're going to tell me to, do this, forget you. I'm not going to listen to you. Oh, I almost had it. I got it again. Look, I mean, I think it's worth watching the show just for that. It's like when I've killed so many tonight. I got to work on that this weekend. Remind me. Okay. Anyway. Well, now it's not on because I'm on a different window. But there she is. See your little, isn't that sad? So we were at this house and there's people like all up near me and my buyer's there. And I'm like, we'd seen the basement, which was a disaster. We saw the outside, which was a disaster. We saw the main bedroom and the carpeted bathroom. The carpeted bathroom. I mean, come on. Do they, let me ask you out there in internet world, any country that watches this, anyone from any country or even any state or anything like that, you tell me, do they carpet the bathrooms where you live? Like, and I'm talking about around the toilet and by the shower. Is there just straight carpet there? Because when I see it here, it makes me want to vomit. And I see it more than I ever should. I mean, seriously. How was that ever a good idea? Ugh. Anyway, so we're sitting there and I'm like, can we just leave? It was the third house. They're not putting an offer in on this house. It's not happening. So why are we here? Like, I had dinner. He had dinner. Let's just go home. And he's like, yeah, let's get out of here. And I actually, you know, I'll do it a different way. Sometimes when, okay, how do I don't know how to put this in a way. So I've looked at probably millions of houses online before going to them. Okay, in my career. And I'm not telling you that because I'm necessarily proud of it. I'm just telling you that I think that matters. Because I can usually look at a listing and within 25 to 30 seconds know if there's any chance in hell of my buyers actually buying the house. This is them sending me over the listing, and I can tell within 30 seconds of I mean, just looking at the pictures if they're going to actually put an offer on this house. And yet we go through, I will go through the motions, understand. I will go to the house that I know they're not buying and show them the house. Why? I don't know. Maybe that says more about me. But if I tell somebody, no, we're not going to go look at, now there are times where I say, come on, you're not buying this house. Look at it. It's not going to happen. Why are we doing this? Sometimes. But there's two things. One, I think that buyers always believe secretly in the back of their mind that somehow there's these houses that are actually the right houses and you're just not showing them. Like there's these secret houses that are so perfect and so wonderful at that price, but I'm just not going to show you those because I'd rather look at garbage. So there's that. And then the other thing is as like I am in a service position, okay? So when someone asks me like, hey, will you show me this house? If I tell them no, then I'm not providing them the service that they're asking for. And the service they're asking for is for me to show them this house. And you may say, well, John, you're providing them a service by telling them the house is awful ahead of time. They're not going to believe it until they go see it. Like, people don't believe until they get out there and start looking and I start pointing stuff out. They have no idea. First-time home buyers are clueless. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm saying they just haven't had the chance to learn. So we go through a whole education process and we get a good house in the end. But I really don't get that. I don't get that upset. And when someone says we want to go see this house, and I say, well, for instance, like, did you know, I mean, you see that the basement it's all piered. The basement has piers in it and, you know, and they've got Kevlar sheeting and it's ripped apart. You really think this is a good idea? And they say yes. And so then I say, well, let's go. And then it's like a train wreck. All right. Now I'm going to see a train wreck. And I think that that's relevant. I will go see a train wreck just because. I mean, I think it's interesting. And like sometimes you walk up to the front door and the buyers are like, can we go? And I'm like, no, we're here now. Let's look at it. It's a train wreck. Let's see how bad it really is. Because, I mean, I'm always amazed at how bad things can be. Anyway, moving on. I don't know who this person is. I don't know how to say his name. I don't want to be mean. It says large banks can now pledge their underwater securities to the Fed and get cash to buy regional banks' underwater securities. Did the Fed unleash another Ponzi scheme? Answer is yes. Yes. Darth Powell, he wrote this, nothing can top this. The Federal Reserve manipulates mortgage rates even lower in order to artificially inflate home prices higher, transferring the wealth from young families to old retirees and speculators. I mean, this whole thing is so gross that's going on. Okay? It's so gross. And you say, John, well, why don't you call him out on it? I've got 150 subscribers, but who's gonna take what I'm saying and do anything about it? Do you think the Fed cares that I know that it's a Ponzi scheme? I mean, do you really think that? I mean, to know that it's a Ponzi scheme shatters all of the pomp and circumstance of these elite people that have these jobs. You have to believe these people are very, very serious and they're very, very smart and they never make mistakes. And it's just like, they don't, a normal guy, that's not going to stop them. It's going to stop them at all. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous what's going on. Let's go one step further. When's the last time someone's been brought before Congress and charged with a crime? Was it Roger Stone? I mean, the chances of getting arrested, especially if you have the right political background, for lying in front of Congress. I mean, did anything happen to Jack Dorsey at Twitter when he said that they weren't censoring accounts? What about his CFO? What about any of those people? It's all part of this grand thing that you're not a part of. You're not an elite. Therefore, you're not allowed to question these very, very fine people. I said very, very fine in case you guys are going to take that and use it against me. Very, very fine. Darth Powell, again, this is something I wanted to go over because I feel like it affects me. Says, realtors don't realize it now, but every time they try to convince people prices aren't going down, ignoring basic math and economics, they're slowly ensuring that they'll be unemployed soon. At current prices and rates and resulting sales, there are 700,000 too many realtors. Okay, so let's not look. I'm a real estate agent. I feel like I don't tell my buyers that prices aren't going down. I feel like I've been pretty upfront about it. But I don't try to convince people anything. And as far as being employed because of this, I'm actually looking for a time when everybody's mother, brother, cousin isn't in the real estate business, so I can actually do some deals. Because right now it's like, if, like, for instance, if I've helped a person buy a house, okay, and their kid decided to become a real estate agent, I'm not going to get that next deal. Okay. Or someone's sister or their cousin, I'm not beating that person. I'm not beating a family member. So I'm not getting that listing. I'm not getting that buyer. And that's how many agents there are that, like, you can literally trip over. I mean, it's just out of control. So this premise, it's kind of interesting. So the premise that real estate agents across the board are trying to convince people prices aren't going down is not who I am and is not what I'm doing. I've known for decades that the real estate sales is just BS, and I've always tried to rally against it to my own detriment. So I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I'm doing a disservice to my clients by telling them I think things are going to be going down at some point. But I will say this, and even yesterday, look, if mortgage rates go down, people are going to buy more houses. Don't even kid yourself for a moment. Now, what that does with pricing in the end, I would think that pricing, like I was telling you, when rates were low before, people were buying houses, they were just paying more for them. It was ridiculous. It wasn't like there was this bargain. The sellers took that money too. I mean, it was gross. Last tweet, this is Sid Prebu. It says, remember kids, America is about personal responsibility. You are personally responsible for positioning yourself for bailout money. I like that one. Okay. Well, that's that part of the show. I hit the wrong button again. Let's get into some articles. I don't know how this is going to look. You tell me in the comments or in the chat what you think. Now, can you read that on your screens? I guess I could pull up mine, but I'm not going to. I should probably anyway, we'll do that later. But anyway, this is, again, I'm going to try this tonight, and if you don't like it, then I saw my favorite streamer do it last night, so I just do what he does, and hopefully that works. Okay. Now, this is a relevant article to me because my basement is an absolute mess after the sewer lateral situation, which is still not fixed. Like, it's fixed, but I need to do like cleaning up the basement. Okay. And I don't want to clean up the basement. I am used to, it's a mess down here. I want to clean it up though. So I thought this might be helpful. It says 7 things that really clutter your home according to a pro organizer. And also, like when I show houses, I don't like to show houses that are cluttered. It's annoying. I don't like to trip over things when I'm walking on the floors. Anyway, let's get going. It says this person's an organizer. It says, here are 7 items that appear like clockwork, whether I'm organizing a closet, pantry, or an entire home. Backup food items interspersed with everyday pantry goods. I'm a big believer in shopping in bulk and creating zones in the pantry so those extra food items aren't cluttering the area I need to access my go-to items. I'll use a personal example. I drink a lot of oat milk. In coffee, smoothies, and cereal, oat milk is my friend. That's why I buy a 6-pack of shelf-stable oat milk from Costco. I don't, however, keep my backup boxes on the same shelf as my pasta and canned goods. Instead, I have a dedicated shelf for my backup items, flour, oat milk, and condiments. I think of this shelf as my version of a cellar, in quotes, cellar, where I store items until I need them. This distinction keeps my everyday shelves organized. Now look, I can read, but can I comprehend? What is she saying here? She's saying that she doesn't keep her backup boxes of oat milk? On the same shelf as pasta and canned goods. And what's a backup? Like, flour isn't a backup item? Backup to what? Now, no, I don't want you to think I'm picking on this person. I want to do a better job of organizing. I don't know if that makes any sense. A surplus number of plastic and paper goods. And most kitchens I've encountered, people have too many paper and plastic goods. It's as if they're about to host a huge party at all times. I understand that it would be wasteful to throw away these items just because they're taking up too much space. Instead, my suggestion is to simply buy less. If there's an event for which you need a paper or plastic plates and utensils, buy the amount needed for the event. Otherwise, these items languish in your pantry or cabinets, occupying much needed space. Well, joke's on her. When our sewer lateral went out in the kitchen, we used paper plates pretty much nightly for like 3 months because we couldn't wash dishes because we didn't have a kitchen sink. We could take them downstairs, which my wife did dutifully, and she's just a wonderful woman for doing that. It was not fun. Batteries are kept in a strange array of areas: the utility drawers, pantry, garage, and our closet. When I encounter a stockpile of batteries, I ask my clients if the batteries are in fact usable or if they're dead. Most do not know. Here are my rules for batteries. First, keep them in one spot in your home. I use a shelf in my garage. Depending on your home, you could use a drawer or cabinet shelf. We have a battery drawer. Mostly double A's and triple A batteries with some square because those are for the smoke detectors. So we're doing this. It says, not only is this helpful in terms of organizing, but also consider how frustrating it is that when that smoke alarm chirps in the middle of the night, requesting a battery change and you can't remember where to find them. And second, separate new and dead batteries. When your dead battery container is full, take it to your nearest battery recycler. If you want to simplify your battery situation, consider investing in rechargeable batteries. I don't know about that. Are you big on rechargeable batteries? It seems just cheaper to throw them away. Does that make me a bad person? Toys kids have grown out of or never liked in the first place. When I first became a parent, I was the type that wrote "no gifts please" at the bottom of birthday invitations. Ooh. But as I learned to let things go, our toy collection inevitably grew. Grandparents, friends, and hand-me-downs, and the good old bribery toy, there's no one singular culprit. Here's who I am. If I have a friend that's having a baby or a former client, I buy the baby the noisiest toy possible. I think it's funny every time. I know the toys my kids love, the ones they will use once a year, as well as the ones they are tired of, too big for, or simply have no interest in. When organizing homes, I often spot these neglected toys taking up valuable space. One trick that's worked for my household is frequent editing of the toys. Every season I sit down with my kids and pull out all their toys. We go through each and they decide, do I still play with this? For toys that are high quality, we pass them along to younger friends or make thoughtful donations. Oh, how virtuous. Another bonus is this gives me a chance to connect with my kids about what is currently sparking their interest. I'm going to keep going. I mean, we're in it now. Might as well. Unloved books. Now, I have a lot of books. That's why this kind of caught my eye. I have many books. And the problem is twofold. One, I knew a long time ago how powerful books were. Okay, so when everyone was buying their Kindle and like, oh, look at me, I got a digital book. I don't need the book. I'm like, you realize they can just, at one point in time, change the book or erase the book, and now you don't have the book. No, that would never happen. Well, welcome to 2023. Look at the Roald Dahl series. Yeah. Tell me about it now. That was one reason. The next reason is I don't like reading on a screen. I like to just read the book. I like to open the pages. I like a bookmark, and I like to just read. I like that. It makes me happy. My family doesn't like books. Nobody in my family is like, oh, I wish I had a book. They're not readers. My concerns don't concern them. But I have a lot of books. And it says, I cannot imagine my life without books. They are for me the hardest items to declutter because I love returning the books I've read. I don't typically go back to books I've read. But anyway, and I value having a text-rich home for my kids. I also know, however, that some books are taking up too much space on our shelves. These are the books I'll never read again, no longer need or haven't touched touched even years later. I'm not alone. Most clients I work with have books in multiple areas throughout the home. I don't have books in multiple areas in the home. I have them in one space in my basement. It's the only place I'm allowed to have them. Fad diet cookbooks, kids' books, and self-help books and manuals. My number one suggestion is to stop buying books. I know this is radical, but embracing the library has changed my book buying habits for the better. I don't want to go to a library. When you go to the brick and mortar library, which is a thrill in itself, or use free mobile apps like Libby to read on an e-reader, borrowing books means the books that you own are the ones you need close by at all times. If I read a book through the library and love it so much I buy it, that way I can lend it to friends, share it with my family, or reread at leisure. Well, I'm not getting rid of my books. I'm just not. I've got books from college. I'll just keep those too. I keep I'm sorry. Purposeless furniture. Many homes, including mine, have furniture pieces that seem to exist simply to occupy space. The corner plant stands without a plant, the errant shelf, and the overstuffed chair in my spare bedroom. When I ask clients how a piece of furniture makes them feel, they often say it was given to them. They got it for a deal. They just wanted to fill the space. Removing useless furniture doesn't make a home sparse. It simply gives a home a room to breathe. I don't know that we have any furniture in the house that is purposeless. My wife does a good job of throwing things out. Too much Tupperware, lurking in drawers, shoved into cabinets and toppling over shelves. Food storage container overtakes our kitchen. Many of these are just past their prime with missing lids, stained surfaces, and questionable smells. This year, I gave myself a gift, a brand new set of Pyrex containers. They all have lids and they fit into one drawer. Having fewer containers mean I have to address my leftover situation more frequently, which in turn means less spoiled food. Embracing less doesn't mean you have to get rid of everything. It doesn't mean your home has to look like a showroom. It means you eliminate the items that aren't serving a function or providing joy so you can make room for more light and ease. So when I'm listing a house, I have somebody that can come in and do, I have somebody that can stage your current things. I have a staging company that can come in and do the whole thing, or you could do it yourself. Like I listed my wife's house for sale, and I said, we can have a lady over here and she can help you get everything in order. And she's like, over my dead body, will you have someone come into my house and tell me how to organize things to sell the house? And because it's my wife, I didn't fight back because that would be dumb. It wasn't my wife at the time, but I hope she'd be my wife. And so it did end up being that way. If you have anything on the floor, let me just say, get it off the floor. I know that sounds weird, but like if you have like a magazine stand, a toilet paper holder, anything that's on the floor, like those cat things, like where they climb on them, just get them out. Just get rid of them. Just get them, put them in the basement in a corner. We'll call that the creepy corner, and we'll just leave it there. That's where all your stuff goes that doesn't look right in the house. Then, like, people are like, oh, this is where they put all their stuff that they're not listing the house with. That makes sense. But yet, clutter's bad in a house. I'm a little bit suspect, though. Like, she's talking about keeping your books and only a few books, you know? Like, what do you think about when you... Well, here's two things. When you see a coffee table book and it's a blatant partisan political book, what do you think about the people that live there if they're not of your politics? Do you want to still buy their house? And I'm both sides. Both sides. I bet you don't. So I always tell people, I don't know that you want to keep those books out. It's not that I don't agree with you or that, I just don't think you want to do that. So we want as many buyers as possible. Now, some sellers are so arrogant. They're so arrogant. They're like, my house is so great that people will buy it no matter what we don't give a rat's what people think about our books. All right. But I told you. That's why it's so difficult. Whenever somebody says to me, hey, what do you think my house is going to sell for? Okay, well, what are we going to do? Are you going to do these things that I tell you to do to get the most amount of money? Or are you going to say, what are these things that I should do and then not do any of them and still expect the money at the end of the day? That's on you. That's not on me. Moving on. What is a Tudor house? Now look. You're looking at somebody that loves Tudor homes, okay? Loves Tudor style homes, okay? I mean, no question. In fact, if you look at South City and St. Louis, I mean, the Tudor homes are the ones that I tend to like, and it seems like most other people like them as well. What is a Tudor house? The architectural style is right out of a fairy tale. If you can imagine a storybook cottage straight out of a fairy tale. Let's see how they use the word fairy tale twice. What's weird, though, straight out of a fairy tale is spaced in the title, but it's together in the story. English majors or people that maybe have Grammarly can weigh in on that and let me know what that's about. It says, then you have a pretty good idea of what a Tudor home looks like. Tudor homes originated in England during the Tudor period, 1485 and 1603, and ranged from smaller cottages to larger country manor homes. You know you're looking at a Tudor home when it has a steeply pitched roof line, all brick exterior, Stucco accents with wood patterns and arched doorways, said Standra Sherling, a broker owner at Remax in Greensboro, Georgia. Also, the enormous chimney is a must in a Tudor home. Not only was it used to heat the home, but also make a statement. Tudor homes are quaint and cozy and can still be found throughout the United States. For historic home enthusiasts, there's lots to love about Tudor homes. Here's a little background on this classical architectural style. So some people will only buy Tudor homes. Like that's their number one goal. Some people hate Tudor homes, and so they will not search for them. I don't know about the stucco accents. Some of the houses that I see don't have stucco accents in St. Louis. They're all brick because St. Louis was a big brick manufacturer. Did you know that? We're famous for our brick at one time. Tudor architecture reflects the style that became popular in Europe during the reign of Henry Tudor VIII. The style originated in England and Wales and combines Renaissance and Gothic design elements built with high-quality materials and craftsmanship. By the 1900s, architects brought the style with them from Europe to America and started a whole new Tudor revival. Tudor homes started popping up across the U.S. around the mid-19th century and grew in popularity until World War II. I agree with that. That's about where I see the 1950. By 1950, there's not a lot of Tudor homes being built. Tudors reached their peak in popularity in the 20s, and by the 40s, less expensive, mass-produced housing developments started producing Tudor-inspired homes. Tudor-style homes became popular in the U.S. in the 20s among the nation's wealthy who were building near town centers. The elegance of a Tudor home was attractive to those wishing to display their wealth. The medieval style from England also gave a romantic feel to the home. I love the Tudor style, okay? I'm sorry. I do. I'm not ashamed to admit it. A symmetric design is a popular feature on a Tudor home. You can identify a Tudor home on the street by its steeply pitched roof with front-facing gables, mullioned windows made of leaded glass, and tall chimney protruding above the steep roof. Tudor homes can have brick exteriors or have timbering accents consisting of wooden boards with stucco or stone in between. They usually have embellished front doors that look like they belong on a castle or with arches or decorative ornamentation. Yes, and in St. Louis, those doors are expensive. And they're the original doors. Now, finding one that would actually fit, eek. The locks are also weird, by the way. The locks, you have to turn it, and then when you turn it, then push down, and then open the door, or else it won't work. Common interior features include wood beams, white stucco walls, and rounded doorways and windows. In today's architecture, we do see a lot of the Tudor aspect used on large estate homes. Where I live in Lake Oconee, in Georgia, the enormous lakefront homes also often use the steeply pitched roofline, rounded stucco doorways, and elaborate chimneys as statement pieces, just as the original Tudor style became popular to show wealth. So we have slate roofs on our Tudors in St. Louis if they have been maintained properly. If they're in a at one point in time, lower cost neighborhood, they've probably switched over to asphalt shingles. In the early to mid-1900s, Tudors began sprouting up in the U.S. The American Tudor continued the trend of an asymmetric roof with pitched gables, half-timbered frame, and a stucco or brick facade. These types of homes were usually two stories, and since their materials were expensive, they were constructed in more well-to-do neighborhoods. That's why they earned the nickname stockbrokers Tudors, since most people during the Great Depression couldn't afford these types of homes. I didn't know that. The American Tudor homes typically have off-center front doors and more ornate detail around windows and doors. Tudor-style homes were particularly popular in the northern U.S., but can be found in suburbs all over the country. There's a lot of them in St. Louis. A lot of them. Detroit, there used to be a lot of them in Detroit. I would guess Chicago. Tudor homes were very popular in northern climates with lots of snow. The steeply pitched roof line and sturdy construction can withstand the weight of the snow and not allow it to pile on the roof. Gavin Townsend, order of the Tudor house in America in 1890 and 1930, called the Tudor Revival the most popular style for U.S. homes between 1890 and 1930, next to the Colonial Revival. Some famous Tudor homes include the Getty House in Los Angeles, the Nathan Moore House in Oak Park, Illinois, and the M. Lloyd Frank Estate, known as the Frank Manor House in Portland, Oregon. This estate is now part of the campus of Lewis and Clark College. Since Tudor homes were popular and built in the 1920s, many of these homes are now considered historic and can be found near historic small town squares. Where I once lived in Monroe, Georgia, our street had several Tudor homes, and I never tired of walking past them. They draw you in, begging you to stare and dream of a different time. Well, I don't know about that. I do like the Tudor home. I don't long for a different time when I walk by them. I just kind of, it's like, oh, we're going to this neighborhood. Yay, there's some cool houses. A lot of individuality, which is what I like. The floor plan's aren't always the same, so I don't know. Tudor homes. South City here in St. Louis, South City, St. Louis Hills, Holly Hills. Not so much in Carondelet. Yeah, St. Louis Hills, Holly Hills. That's where you'd find Tudors. Last article of the night. I thought this was interesting. I guess that's obvious, or I wouldn't have mentioned it. I wouldn't have picked it for something to talk about because it's so confusing. We saw a tweet now about this woman wrote, hey, what about construction coming online? Okay. And now we see this article, and it says, single-family starts remain lackluster, but will rebound later in this year. Her tweet was more like, are they finished houses, or did they just start houses? What's going on? Single-family production remained at an anemic pace in February as builders continue to wrestle with elevated mortgage rates, high construction costs, and tightening credit conditions that threaten to be exacerbated by recent turmoil in the banking system. I would also add that it's very hard in places like St. Louis to build in January and February when the ground's frozen and it's miserable. Led by gains in apartment construction, overall housing starts in February increased 9.8% to a seasonally adjusted rate of 1.45 million units, according to the report from the U.S. Department of Housing. So total housing starts up 9%. Single-family production down. The February reading of 1.45 million starts is the number of housing starts, just checking, the number of housing units the builders would begin if development kept this pace for the next 12 months. Within this overall number, single-family starts increased 1.1% to 838,000 seasonally adjusted annual rate. However, this means 31.6% lower than a year ago. Do you believe that? The multifamily sector, which includes apartment buildings and condos, increased 24% to an annualized 620,000 pace, despite persistent supply challenges. Rising builder confidence is signaling a turning point for home building later in 2023. Is that a good thing? Should they be? A significant amount of housing demand exists on the sidelines, and resale inventory is limited. Starts were up in February, given a limited pullback for interest rates. We expect volatility in the months ahead as ongoing challenges related to construction material costs and availability continue to act as headwinds on the housing sector. However, interest rates are expected to stabilize and move lower in the coming months, and this should lead to a sustained rebound for single-family starts in the later part of 2023. That is their belief. Interest rates are expected to stabilize and move lower in the coming months, and this should lead to a sustained rebound for single-family home starts in the latter part of 2023. Wow. On a regional basis, compared to previous month, combined single-family and multifamily starts were 16.5% lower in the Northeast, 70% higher in the Midwest. This is why I probably don't really think that this is what's the word? I don't my perception is more that there's a lot of houses being started here because they probably are. 2.2% higher in the South and 16.8% higher in the West. Overall permits increased 13.8% to 1.52 million unit annualized rate in February. Single-family permits increased 7.6% to 777,000 unit rate. Multifamily permits increased 21.1% to an annualized 747,000 pace. Looking at regional permit data compared with the previous month, permits were 2.8% lower in the Northeast, 9.6% higher in the Midwest, 10.9% higher in the South, and 30% higher in the West. The number of single-family units under construction is 734,000 homes. This is down 11.4% from May 2022, the cycle peak. The number of apartments under construction is 957,000. This is the highest total since 1973. Now, we've seen some of the people we watch on Twitter saying, my God, there's so many houses coming online at the time of low, higher interest rates and all this other stuff. It's going to just crush the market. And yet there are others that say, oh, it's just fine. It's actually great. Given the declining pace for single-family starts in 2022, more homes are being completed than starting construction. In February, 58,600 single-family homes started construction. However, 77,100 completed construction. This difference is responsible for the ongoing decline in the number of single-family home units under construction as displayed in the chart above. So blue is single-family, it went up, and then now it's down. And multifamily is just on a tear. I don't think that's a good thing. I think there's a ton of demand for multifamily homes, but I think that demand is because no one can afford a single-family home. And this is my belief. It's sad. Well, had a good night. 150 subscribers, all-time high. Showed some houses tonight. Had a great dinner. We went through some wonderful articles. We learned that eating pudding has got to be done a certain way if you want to be president. My gosh. We learned alligator measure. Anyway, hope you had a good time. I know you guys watch sometimes the next day on replays and stuff like that. If you haven't subscribed and if you've been thinking about it, please do. Also, you can subscribe on Rumble. I've got 17 followers. I need 25 followers to be able to live stream directly to that platform, which I'd really like to do. Just as another place, just in case things ever go south on YouTube. But with that, I'm going to head on out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.